Sit back, relax yourself, and now gently take in a deep breath and breathe out gently. Relax all your muscles of your body. And then slowly bring your attention from outside, from what has been happening today, what you're surrounded by. Bring your intellect away from all of that. To right behind your forehead. Your attention is on yourself. Behind your eyes is you, the soul, the divine, eternal, imperishable soul. And you remind yourself, I am a soul. And I am a peaceful soul, a loveful soul, and a powerful soul. Each one that are surrounded by are all souls in their own respective bodies. This body is my car, and I, the soul, am the driver. I am the one who uses these eyes, ears, nose, and mouth to communicate to others, to perform actions. But in fact, I'm a soul and I'm the master of this body. And I have come from the land of silence, beyond the earth and beyond the universe. And the whole world of all souls are my brothers. And my parent, my eternal parent, is God. Who lives in that land of silence. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. So Om Shanti. So you can see that this is how we meditate. I hope you have done those 3 exercises which you're continuing from the first day. And I've also given another exercise yesterday, and that is consider yourself to be a soul and then talk to God. Relate everything in your life to God, right? So today I said I'll be telling you about how to connect to God. Yeah? There has to be preparation. Now, like if you have to go and meet someone and in a formal setup, you do prepare yourself what to speak, what not to speak, how do you dress up, how do you interact in the same way. If you're going to take an appointment with God, or rather connect to God, you should be prepared. And the preparation is nothing physical. You can, there is no posture in this particular meditation. You can sit wherever you want, however you want. If you're not well, you can even lie down and meditate. That's not a problem. But the thing is, if you have to, this is like a spiritual pilgrimage, like how people pack and they prepare everything for the whole trip to go for a pilgrimage. And so they need a lot of stamina because they have to climb so many mountains and walk a lot. And so in the same way here, to connect to God, this is a spiritual pilgrimage that I can be sitting in one place, but I can take my intellect beyond. I don't have to go to places, but I can take my intellect there. That I take my intellect to the land of silence where God is. I can. And they take strength from him and come. So for such a preparation to allow and prepare your intellect to fly in such an extent, the first consciousness that we need to practice is soul consciousness. That is the first step. Only then there can be God consciousness, that you just know that God is my Father. To be soul conscious, it is important to become aware that how originally I'm love and I'm peace and I'm happiness and I'm purity and I'm power. This is the soul I am, and this is who I am originally. Until unless I do not have that faith that I truly am that, then the preparation is not complete. Excuse me. We are not sitting to meditate. We are not attempting to connect to God because we are weak and we don't have any strength, because we are not of no use. No, we have to have this aim very clearly, that I'm sitting and or rather walking, talking and connecting to God because I want to regain back what I was originally. So as I said, the soul's original nature is love, peace, happiness, purity, strength. So this is the original nature. I have to revive back those qualities. So to have that faith, so when I'm meditating and connecting to God, I should understand that I am all these qualities. I am that. I am a peaceful soul. I am a loveful soul. And I want to revive it and I want to sustain it. This is what is called smriti. Smriti means awareness. This is the first awareness. Second awareness, and that is when you're prepared that you're a soul and what kind of a soul you are. And then you are prepared for the second, and that is God consciousness. That is, who is he to you? Is God? Where is he? What is he? What is he to me? Without this information, it's extremely difficult to connect. Even if you want to connect through phone, you need to have the right phone number. There's so many numbers. Even one number is gone, then even though it all looks the same, one number is missing also, then you cannot connect. In the same way, the address. There are a lot of people with the same name in the same colony and probably in the same apartment also. But unless you don't give them the address, they can't reach you, no? Just with a name, they cannot reach. So even when you say just God, you can't reach him. You should know where he is. God is someone who does not live on this earth. He lives beyond, on that land of silence. On the basis of address, do you understand that he's God? So I'm going to connect myself to God who lives up there in that land of silence. So I have to know where he is. What is he? He is my Father. He's my mother, he's my friend, he's my Sadguru. So there has to be a relationship. If there is no relationship, then what happens is there is no attainment. What would a servant in the house get? uh, and what would a child get? There's a lot of difference, no? The child would get everything which is the best in the house. The servant most naturally will not get that. So if I consider myself to be a servant, then what would happen? I'd say, God, give me this. I'm nothing. I'm a sinner. I have done nothing. I'm so not so good, this and that. So all the time when I'm putting myself down and not considering myself to be his child and considering myself to have that rights over him, you will only feel that right towards God only when you have a relationship, or else you won't feel the right. Hey Bhagwan, hey Prabhu, you are something higher and I'm nothing. So you cannot connect to him. This is like seeking. This is not connecting. This is called seeking. Seeking is you're searching and you are requesting God for help. No, but you have to connect. This is a relationship. He's my father. You don't have to ask him help me. He will automatically. But I should be prepared to receive his help. Right? So there has to be a relationship. First, you should know where he is. You should have a relationship. And he's my father. So he is a point of light. I am also a point of light. Because he's my father, I look like him. He's an ocean of love, ocean of peace, ocean of purity. I'm also love, peace. I may not be ocean, but I'm also having these qualities of love, peace, and happiness. Yeah. He lives in that land of silence in Paramdham. And I also came from there as a soul when I was there. That was my residence, and then I came down. So in that sense, you understand that he is my father. And thirdly, connection. Once I know where he is, what is he to me? What is it that he can give me? And that is when I use the power of visualization, because you can't see the soul, you can't see the supreme, you can't see both. With this naked eye, you cannot see. But to be able to see, you have to use the power of visualization. Visualization is to create an image. So let us say I tell you something about somebody that you've never met. And I'm telling you, oh, that person was like this, and then that person came and he lives in this apartment and all. Already that image is formed in your mind of how that person would be looking. Now let us say I introduce that person to you, and you would say, sister, he looks so different from what I thought. Meaning we create an image, a very different, some image we do create when we hear something. So we think in images. So if I have to meditate also, I have to create an image of God. How would he look? It's a point of light. That image has to come into your mind. I am a soul. That image has to come, that I'm that point of light. Because through images, you get feelings. So the first step, soul consciousness, I am a soul. I just gave you the commentary of what we need to think. I'm a peaceful soul. I'm an eternal soul. I'm right behind my forehead. And this body is not me. This body is what I have. This is my car. And then God consciousness, he's up there. He's ocean of love, ocean of peace. He's my father. He's a father of all souls on this earth. He's almighty authority. So then connection. You see yourself travel beyond and reach there, and beyond the universe, beyond everything. And you reach there, you're taking strength from him and come back again. We have to come back to play our part and see it because we are making ourselves more empowered, more replenished, so that we are able to get back to life and become a better people. As I said, this is a meditation which has got nothing to do with any physical, what you call involvement. You don't need to sit somewhere and meditate. You don't need to always walk and meditate. You can be anywhere and everywhere. And so because you have to be everywhere and anywhere and be able to meditate, because we're practical people, we are among responsibilities and relationships. We can't just sit somewhere and just cut off from the world. It's not possible. So that's exactly why this meditation has to be open-eyed. Because if you have to connect to God whilst cutting vegetables, or whilst you are doing some things, some work which doesn't require a lot of involvement of your intellect, you can connect to God at that moment. So at that time, if you keep closing your eyes, it doesn't seem good, no? So we should practice connecting to God with our eyes open. That is, we may be driving the car, we may be sitting somewhere, we may be talking to somebody, we going in the lift, eating a food, opening a fridge, climbing steps. So many things we do. And in all those activities, I connect myself to God. I'm just in 1 second, I'm remembering Him. I'm considering myself to be a soul and remembering Him there in the land of silence. It takes 1 second. But if I make a habit of closing my eyes again and again, then what happens when you don't even know if you drop off to sleep? That's not practical. That is, closing eyes is for sannyasis. Most of what all we think is always with our eyes open only. Isn't it? If you're watching television and your mind goes somewhere, and let us say somebody of your family member will come and ask you, hey, what just happened right now on the TV? You'll say, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You're watching the TV? You'll say, yeah, I was watching TV, but my mind was elsewhere. In the same way, I can be watching anything, but my intellect can be taken there beyond to God. This meditation involves not just sitting and practicing, but also it has a method to walk, move, talk, interact, and whilst performing karma, have an experience of being a karma yogi, that is performing actions and yet be connected to God. Your mood and your behavior, your personality has a direct effect on your meditation. Because if your behavior has not been very accurate, then when you sit to meditate and you're telling yourself, I'm a peaceful soul, you won't feel it. Because already the impression is formed that what others think about you is irrelevant at this point. What you think about yourself, because when your behavior is not good, you will not think good about yourself. So when you sit to meditate and you are giving the affirmation that I'm a peaceful soul, but you won't believe it, because your actions were not in congruence with it. Early morning hours is the best time. When you sit to practice, of course, we start with commentaries, the kind of commentary that I've given. We can send you the commentary today in the WhatsApp group. Please pick it up and start practicing it. How much of a time you can. Wake up early in the morning. Start waking up early in the morning. It's a Brahma Muhurtam Amrit Vela. It's a most precious, most auspicious time, because their vibrations are very pure at that time. And you can connect to God very easily at that time. That is from 2 to 5 anytime. Morning 2 to 5. And that is a moment you can have a chit chat with God. You can connect to God. You can take strength from Him. There are a lot of experiences that people have at the Brahma Muhurtam. And evening 6:30 to 7:30 is also considered a very, very beautiful time. It's called Numa Sham. And in the whole day, we are able to take out what we call as traffic control. The thoughts are all traffic. You need to give it a control once in a while in between, so that it doesn't have accidents. No? So that is why we have what we call as traffic control. One in the morning at 7, then 10:30, then noon 12, then 5:30, then 7:30, and then 9:30. So the 5 times these traffic controls, we do play songs in the center, but then people at home, they play some music. So the thing is, we will go through these 3 steps. When I started off with just 1 minute. Early in the morning, I'd wake up for 1 minute and meditate and go to sleep. So you can start with just 1 minute or 2 minutes, and not too much, just beginning 5 minutes. You say good morning to God, take strength from Him, tell what your plans are, and go back to sleep. You can start like that. No? Somewhere we should begin. Early morning is like people who are very successful wake up very early in the morning. So I'll take you through the 3 steps. Soul consciousness, God consciousness, and connection. I'll give you commentary. Sit back, relax yourself. Gently I prepare myself for the journey beyond, the land that is my original home, the home of all souls. And to take this long journey, I prepare myself by reminding myself of who I truly am. I am a soul. A point of light behind my forehead. And I, the soul, nature, is that of love, peace, and happiness. I use this body to connect to the world. I'm an eternal, powerful, imperishable, divine soul. And as a soul, I fly beyond this body towards the skies. And when I turn back and look down, I see all the buildings, the traffic. Everything is so tiny now. I fly beyond. I feel light. I feel free. Nothing holds me back. I fly beyond the sun, the moon, the stars, all the limitations of the universe. I fly till I reach the land of silence. And when I reach the land of silence, my original home, I see God. He looks just like me as a point of light. And his rays of love, peace, and power reach out to me and fill me. I feel filled with these qualities of strength and peace from God. In whatever is there in my heart, I put it across to Him. I tell God, let my life be such that it can give inspiration to others. I want to become that kind of a person that others respect instead of me asking for respect. In all the issues and problems and obstacles, I surrender to you. For God, you do a better job than me. No questions, no apprehension, just God and me. Just as if there is a canopy of protection and blessings from Him. And gently, I take my journey back through the universe, through the clouds and the skies, and I'm back here onto this earth, right behind my forehead. I am a soul, a child of God. I am a soul, and I filled myself to play my role beautifully. And I am the child of God, and is eternally helping me, preparing me. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. So these are the three steps: soul consciousness, God consciousness, and connection. So, how does this meditation help in a practical life? I usually share my experience. It must have been, it was 92 when I came into this knowledge. And I came to this center to take the meditation course. And it was for concentration. I was writing an entrance exam for about, for a master's program, and there were about 3,000 people were writing. That is nothing if you compare it to the exams that we have now. But at that time, 3,000 people were too much for me. And I remember thinking that I don't think so I'll be able to get in, because there were only 10 seats for open category. The other 15 seats were all for reservations. So I won't be getting any of that reservation. So I thought I have a very, low chance of getting anywhere. But then, because my parents insisted to at least attempt the exam, being fully prepared, that was when I came to the center to learn meditation for concentration, because I had 1.5 months left to practice, that is to study and then write the exam. So I came here because there are certain notions, in those days, meditation was not that popular. In 92, it wasn't that popular as it is now. And the only notion I had was people, because I was at that time maybe 20 or something. So I felt that people who are like 60 years of age and above should meditate. And I also had a notion that people who have sorrow, they meditate. So because of this limited thinking, I felt that this is not my time to meditate. But my mother insisted that it will help me concentrate better. So that's when I went and took the course. And without my knowledge, I observed that I would sit for long hours and study, which I never did before. And I scraped through and I got a 9th rank. So I developed a lot of faith that this is helping my academics And even in my personality, there was a lot of changes that my parents noticed, and they would tell me that there is a personality change where you are thinking more about others, where you were very selfish before, but you're thinking about others and concern. So these kind of behavior changes also they saw and they observed, and they encouraged me to continue to meditate. And then finally, it is also like I saw that, you know, when it is helping you academically, it is also helping you in your personality. I thought I should continue, you know, because where there is no transformation, then there is something wrong with your meditation. There has to be transformation because you're directly connected to God, and He has the power to transform the sanskaras, transform your personality. So it should show. If that kind of a personality change they're not able to see at home, they'll say, "Now what? They're meditating. There's no change in them." Some people tell me that means the method is not right, or you're not meditating enough. 1-2 minutes meditation the whole day won't work. You begin with 1-2 minutes, but you have to continue increasing it. And you can't miss out. One day you do, 2 days you don't do. It's not like that. Continuously. So that's why I felt this is helping me in so many different ways. So I want to continue, and I started continuing. At that point of time, when I was taking the meditation course, the sister was taking the course. She said that you should give good wishes to people you don't like. So there was one girl who was very bad to another girl. So I was not in good terms with her because she was very bad to another girl. So what happened was she became very bitter towards me, and I became bitter towards her. So that was the only girl I remembered, and I started giving good wishes to her. So she said, whomever you don't like, also you give good wishes. And for 8 months, without fail, I would always give good wishes to her, see her as a soul and give good wishes every day without fail. And I was not in talking terms also with her, but I was giving good wishes. All my friends would talk bad about her. She become very popular in, you know, in for everyone's topic to talk about her bad. Finally, it just so happened I was flying from here to another city, and this girl was an air hostess. And when we landed there, I saw she was there, air hostess, and she was standing with a namaste. So I knew she will just ignore, and I will also ignore her, whatever. But I thought by that time, like since 2 months, whenever I would see her, I would go smile and say hello. She would not respond so well, but I would always say hello. And that's about it. And we lost touch. So on the flight, when she was standing there getting off, she pulled me and hugged me. And she said, "Oh my God, you know, did your phone number change? I want to be in touch with you, this and that." So much dramatic change. And a friend who was there on the flight, she asked, "How did she change so much towards you? So are you in touch with her?" I said, "No." She said, "Are you calling her? Are you meeting her?" I said, "No, I'm not." "Then how come she's feeling so much affection towards you?" I said, "It is not through meeting or through thoughts. It's not through meeting or not through phone, only through thoughts." So I thought this meditation has an impact on relationships, on my academics, and my personality. So I want to continue. And it really helped. It really, really helped. Mhm. So practical life, it has to show. So tomorrow's class would be on how we can see, monitor ourselves, whether we are transforming or not. You know, we are meditating. It's not relaxation. You feel very calm and quiet, and then back to square one. You go back into the world and you're behaving the same way. Nothing has changed. So that is why, how do I monitor? How do I know that this meditation is directly helping me in my life? It's calming me when I have to be calmed down. Where is it helping me to be more stronger to face situations? So what are those things that I need to look for? This is tomorrow's very, very important practical class. Don't miss it. You have to log in and listen. You have any questions? I've left a lot of time for you all. I thought I'll leave it at 7:45, but I left it early. Please, you have any questions, you can ask me. Because today is the meditation class. They won't. So that's exactly why, if you have any, a lot of people listen to the class and everything, and then they ask our sister how to meditate. So that is why I want to make it very, very clear. This is meditation. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Is somebody typing? No? When I open my eyes and meditate, my thoughts are distracted. Yeah, in the beginning, it happens like that. Because we're not used to it, no? So, but the thing is, when you close your eyes, what happens is you don't even know you drop off to sleep. And so many images come in the mind when you close your eyes. How can we keep our hands? Means how, mana? Hands like what? Hands while meditating. How do we keep our hands? Anyhow, this is like you're just sitting, just however you want. You want to sit like this, you want to sit like this, right? In a comfortable way, that you are comfortable with your hands. The first step is soul consciousness. I'm a soul, I'm a point of light, I'm eternal, I'm a soul. This is first step. Second step, God. He's up there in the land of silence, and he's my father, he's my parent. I have a right over him. Third step, I see myself as a soul travel beyond. This is spiritual pilgrimage, that I travel all the way to the land of silence where God is. And then I'm right in front of him. Take strength from him, take whatever you want from him, and then come back. These are the 3 steps. Is there any specific? No, there are no positions. As I said, you can lie down, you're not well, you can sit comfortable. If you have been doing hatha yoga and you sit on padmasana and you're comfortable with that, sit with padmasana. That's okay. But there's no compulsory thing that you have to sit like that. You can sit on a couch, you can sit proper, comfortably you sit. Not too relaxed that you can drop off to sleep. Alert enough, but you sit. Which is the best place to meditate? The place like where you spend time in silence at home, maybe puja room, maybe if it is usually our puja rooms are too small. So but then maybe your balcony, maybe some silence place, but you should sit there only every day, so that you can create the vibrations there. Don't keep changing places, and don't try to meditate on your bed. You will drop off to sleep because the sleep vibrations are there. Don't try to meditate in a living room if possible, because living room a lot of conversations and too much vibrations are there, so your mind will get distracted. Please repeat the early morning timings for meditation. That is from 2 to 5. Any half an hour you can do. Start off with 5 minutes. Silent room or terrace. Yeah, silent room, which is the best place. That's all. While meditating, feel sleepy. Yes, you will feel sleepy, because it gives you signals, alpha waves you will create. Your thoughts will come down. So mostly when thoughts come down, we always consider that to be a time to sleep. But you have to, when you meditate, you learn, now I have to keep awake and enjoy that peace and silence. I don't have to drop off to sleep. But mostly people will feel sleepy, and especially when you're very tired, naturally when you're in silence, you will want to drop off to sleep. Eyes should be open always. No, when your eyes are, let us say, tired, you can close your eyes and open a bit, and you can keep it half open like Buddha. You don't have to keep your eyes fully open also. You can focus on some point somewhere and keep your eyes half open. That's okay. Average should be meditated. See, God is your father. So if you have a father, let us say he's here. Let us say he's in Secunderabad, you are in Hyderabad. So should you ask your father how many times I should remember you? He'll say, what are you talking? I'm your father. You should remember me all the time. What is there? Whilst in activity. That's what I said. Whilst in activity, whilst I'm eating, because I'm not thinking anything great in all those times. I'm not so busy thinking. I'm only busy doing. Thinking is not very relevant and not very useful, actually, if you observe. 80% is going in waste. So this meditation should replace all those wasteful thoughts so that I can build energy. So whilst I'm eating, what am I thinking great? If there's someone to talk to, okay. Sometimes, some people have a habit of not talking when they're eating. So what are they thinking? Remember him. But it takes 1 second to remember him, know that you're a soul and you eat. It takes a second. So there is no time. Of course, mornings and evening timings, which I told you, is very good. But all through the day, there has to be the practice of connecting to him because he's your father. There has to be that element of love for him. When there's love, you don't measure time, no? How to get started with formless? How do I visualize God? God is also same. It's not formless. You have a form. You are a point of light. You are a point of light, and God is also a point of light. Form is just the same, but qualities are very high. God's qualities are very high. So we should visualize yourself as a point of light, like a sparkle, like a star. Same thing with God. How to get started with talking to God? That for me is the most difficult part of meditation. See, this is like a relationship. First, you should form a relationship. Don't think about talking. Conversation comes later. First, relationship. Who is he to me? First, if you don't think you're a soul, then he being a supreme soul, you feel what is he to me? Because you need bodily relationship because you're thinking you're a body. First, practice soul consciousness. I am a soul. And he is the father of the soul. So how would you talk to your father? Same way you should talk to him. You should say, God, oh Father, this is what is going on in my life. This is what is going on. And this is what I'm doing. This is what you take care. You are the one who's always with me. Please take care of me, take care of my family. And you're always with me, like that. Conversations. You'll come as you're meditating, you will pick it up. What should I do if I feel restlessness while meditating? It will be there. Restlessness will be there. Sleepiness will be there. Because we're not used to sitting like that and meditating. No? You're not such like to be able to concentrate so much and put so much focus energy, that so much you're not able to do. So mind will wander. You become restless because mind starts wandering. Don't worry. Let it wander, then get it back again. Slowly increase the time. That is where commentaries are important. Like the commentary that I was giving, like that there are some short commentaries are there. Of course, today, because you're learning to meditate, I gave a whole 15 minutes commentary, I think 10 minutes commentary. But we have commentary series that sister will send you that you can play for 5 minutes, meditate, and then keep it aside. Slowly you increase. Is it possible to speak to God on the first day itself, and how do we get response? See, if your intellect is clear, clean, response you will get, but it takes little time. It won't come like how you talk to people. That response will not come there. An idea will come. And a kind of a background of something will come in the mind. Like I think this is the right thing to do. And that feeling comes from internally. So, but then you have to keep your intellect very open. If you have your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own decisions, and then you have to empty yourself when you go in front of him. You have to surrender. Then he can get in touch. Slowly you will feel the strength. Sometimes it may not be a response, but it could be some sort of strength you will experience which you did not have before. You can speak to him the very first day also. He's your father. Who will stop you? Who can stop you? Is your father. You can talk whenever you want, however you want. Object, why? What is God is not an object. No, he's not inanimate. I am also not inanimate. Body is inanimate. Soul is animate. The soul is a living being. No, God is a living being. How can we object? How can we see him as an object? He's a living being. So we are used to seeing an image, as you're saying. You're used to seeing an image, and we will be there. It will be there. It's okay. You seeing yourself a body. Of course, I have this body, but I am actually a soul. You see others as bodies, but they're actually souls. Practice. Slowly, at least every day, see at least 3 to 4 people as souls. Why did I tell you? It starts from there. Mm-hmm. Me also, while opening my eyes, meditate my thoughts. Of course, for everyone, it is the same thing. Even for me, I used to find it very difficult to keep my eyes open. But concentration is when your eyes open. Closing your eyes, how is it possible? You're not a sannyasi. No, you can't cut away from the world. You have to eternally be connected. So even whilst being all disturbance, like you should be in the middle of a wedding, all that, what is it called? Shanai and all those damrus and all that are going on around you. Your friends are all there. You're all sitting there and you're watching that wedding. At that moment of time, you should be able to connect to God. So if you keep on practicing with your eyes open all the time, how is it possible? So 1 second you're able to remember him and wish them good. All that rice they'll put is of no use, but you're just sitting there and taking one thought for them. May they have the courage, the strength and everything to be compatible, whatever you're wishing. That is such an impactful one. If you're remembering God and doing it. So there, how can you say, now I want to close my eyes? It will be so impractical and funny it will be. If you close your eyes among all relatives and friends. So if you practice with your eyes open, it becomes more easier and comfortable. It should blend in your practical life. Nobody should know you're meditating. That's what I'm trying to say. Nobody need to know. This is a relationship. If you're remembering your father at home, if you're remembering your mother, if I'm remembering your wife or your husband, your children, does people have to know that? Why? What is the great information about it? No, great. It's your personal life. Same way, when you're remembering God, He is your father, no? It's your personal life. Me also, thoughts are distant. Another one is there. Sister, while meditating, what should we be in our mind only? Almighty. First, soul consciousness. Almighty, second step. That's what I said. Soul conscious practice. I am a soul. I am a point of light. Everyone around me are also souls. I don't have a soul. I am a soul. I said 7, 8 times you practice this in the whole day. Like that, I gave you a beginning. I am a soul. Isn't it? That practice has to be there. That's the first one. Sister, already I'm worshipping Lord Hanuman. Whether I should stop? See, the thing is stopping and all. No, you should understand who's Hanuman. First, you have to understand who's Hanuman. Hanuman is the worship. I will tell you this, which class it will come about Hanuman and everybody. I will tell you. Fifth class, I'll tell you about all of them and why they are praised, and not the stories, but the real meaning, the significance of them. So we have to imbibe those qualities of Hanuman. The love for God that he had in his heart, and only God was there. He made impossible possible. He took one powerful thought, courageous, and he would fly to reach God. He would allow the thoughts to reach God. So those qualities I have to imbibe. By just saying you are great, what is the point? I have to take those qualities inside me, and those qualities only God can give. So what is Hanuman saying? Please take strength from God. He's also saying the same thing, no? Of course we can take inspiration from him, but who is Hanuman? Must we have to know. Man ko hanan karne wala means the one who destroys ego is Hanuman. But I am this. No, he would sit among chappal, they say, no? So he was very humble, he was. And they say they say in the scriptures is written, I'll tell you the meaning right now. They say in the scriptures that your mind is like a monkey, they say. It's written there. Your mind is a monkey means the mind is never in one place. It's just jumping here, there, everywhere it is jumping. So if one thought is powerful and they think, no, I have to do it, and I have to have discipline, and I will transform my life. Nothing is impossible. If one thought is powerful, they say, all the thoughts which will follow, thousands of thoughts will also become powerful. But that one thought should be determined. They say in Hindi, sankalp to lo, pata nahi, are sankalp to lo, thought to lo ho jayega. It will be finished. You just do it. It will happen. So Hanuman, the worship of Hanuman is like, first he said yes, and behind him the whole Vanar Sena followed. Vanar Sena is not the army of monkeys, the army of thoughts. So Hanuman is the worship of a one powerful thought, actually speaking. It's not really a monkey. If he was that, then everybody should become divine. No, all monkeys now, no monkeys becoming divine. So the thing is, it is a concept. It is not really Hanuman existed. But that we will share about it later. So that is why most pictures you will see Hanuman flying like this, towards a light. That is, when you remembering God, your thoughts will fly. No, you can't. This body cannot fly. Your thoughts will fly there. That is why they show Hanuman flying. That means to say, thought. The powerful thought only will reach God. That's what it means. Okay. Now. Mm, I gave you that example, no? Actually, I didn't tell you more in expansion and like the way I tell mostly about that girl. But that girl had done some unethical thing, very unethical. And I totally disliked her. But in the beginning, when I would give good wishes to her, I would feel that I'm hugging thorns. I would tell my mother, Mullulni Patkunani likes to tell like I'm like hugging thorns. So I told the sister here. So that sister said, these thorns will turn to flowers. I said, how impractical is that? How can thorns become flowers? Buds will become flowers. Not thorns. So she said, no, you continue giving. So in the beginning, the formality. With formality, I used to do no feeling, but I used to give good wishes. But I used to always get the flashes of how wrong she did. And, excuse me, and what terrible things she spoke about me. All that was flashing in front of me. But I kept on giving good wishes. No, I have to be a bigger person. I'm a soul. Until unless you don't see them as souls, until unless you don't consider yourself to be a soul, you cannot give good wishes. That much I can tell you. The minute you see the body, that minute you remember the relationship, what you contributed, how they deceived, everything will come. So no, I said I have to see her as a soul only. That's how God sees her. That's how I want to see her. So in the beginning, no feeling, just like what you call Opcharikta means it's like formality. Then the first thing I noticed after 3 months of giving good wishes every day without fail, I noticed that I started remembering how good she was to me at one point. Some good qualities she had that I remembered. Second, I was so uncomfortable with her in any place. If she's there, I'll go away from there. Like that I became. But then first I started remembering how good she was. Then this is back in 93. I'm talking 92, 93. So then second thing, all my friends would talk only bad about her. And it was a very hot topic. Her topic was hot topic. Everybody will talk about her. She's like this, like that. And they'll include me because I'm also a victim of that girl. So they will talk to me also. And they'll say this, she did this, she spoke like this about you, whatever. And with lot of interest, I would also contribute. But then after the good wishes and all, I started avoiding it. I said, no, let's not talk about it. Let's talk something else. I stopped talking bad about her. This was second thing. And the third thing is that when I would see her anywhere, the discomfort, that unpleasant feeling went away. I would just go and say hello to her. This was the change that happened. And then slowly after 2-3 months, that good wishes turned into something nice. And with lot of good feelings, I was giving good wishes. That's what happened. And that is what your vibrations will reach her. Even if you're here in Hyderabad and they are in London, but the thoughts will reach. When they meet you, the vibrations only will be different for them. That is what happened on the flight. She just came and hugged me. Even till date, she's in touch with me. Isn't it? So that is why I'm telling you, these good wishes have a lot of power. But without soul consciousness, you cannot give good wishes. It's very difficult. Sister, whenever I'm in anger mode, is it advisable to meditate? At that time, it's very difficult to meditate when you are angry. It is before what you have practiced will help you there. You should never focus on how to remove anger. Don't think about it. How to accumulate peace is what you need to think about. That is what The teachings are here. I am a peaceful soul. So the Jaisi Smriti, there's a Hindi saying is there. Jaisi Smriti awareness, Vaisi Man ki sthiti. That will be the state of your mind. Jaisi Man ki sthiti, Vaisi vritti, the kind of attitude you create towards yourself and others. Jaisi vritti, Vaisi drishti, the way you see the world. So the attitude, so will be your vision towards others. Or Jaisi vritti, Vaisi kriti, the kind of actions you perform towards that individual, towards a situation, whatever. Or Jaisi kriti, Vaisi srishti, that is how the world you will create around you. You will find everything is terrible. Or Jaisi srishti, then you come back to smriti, the same negative awareness. I am weak, I can't do anything. Nobody likes me. These are all awareness. Accordingly, we will see the whole world and the vision and action, everything. So that's exactly why we have to first start with the smriti. I'm a peaceful soul. From there it will begin. For it to come into action, it will take time. So as you're practicing, what happens is that the tomorrow class will be covering all these things actually. All these aspects I will cover. So when that situation comes, the amount of anger you would have before will be lessened now. It won't go immediately. Some people can show it in action. They can throw things. They can shout and say nasty things. That will come down. It will be internal only. Slowly. So it will keep slowly coming down. But I have to inculcate peace. I'm a peaceful soul. I'm an angry person. I'm a peaceful soul. At that time, you cannot meditate. You should accumulate before. Like right now, if you have saved, you have put lot of your grains and all rice and everything in the house. Now it is very easy for you now. Coronavirus time. At home, very comfortable. Same way, you should accumulate. So at the right time, when the situation comes, you won't go beyond your control. That's what it is. Thank you. Sister, with all the good wishes, we have our perception towards them might turn positive, but how could the bad in them change? Or the nature of doing bad may not change, could it? See, who are you to judge? Tell me. The thing is, people will have their own phase, their own set of time to change themselves. If someone comes and tells you, you are this, you change, can you? Immediately? We cannot. Lot of things, a lot of people don't like in us. Lot of things people don't like in us. Every relative of yours, every person around you, if you ask them, they'll not like one thing in you. And if they tell you change it, can you? It may be creating difficulty for them. We may not know, but it might be creating difficulty. It's very difficult because these are very strong sanskaras. They're helpless. They're very strong habit patterns. So it takes time for it to go. And for it to go, the way I should help them is through good wishes. If you keep on saying, Telugu is or you are like that only, you're like that only, then what happens? The soul doesn't get the strength also. First, there is no connection with God. Another thing is everybody around are giving bad wishes. There is one nice forward somebody said, I just want to share with you. There is one person, he did something terribly wrong. So terrible wrong he did. So in that particular tribe in Africa, there is a system, it seems. Customs will be there with the panchayat. In that custom, what they did was, what they do is they'll call that person who did wrong and make him stand right in between, and the whole village will sit around him. Full around him, they will sit. And you know what they will do? Each one will go on praising him and how great he was and what kind of good qualities he did, what all he has contributed to the society or whatever. They keep on telling you are this, you are that. And that soul will feel so regretful for that actions and they want to change. Only when you forgive will the others get realization. I'll tell you another one. I have a lot of examples. I hope you have time. Another one example shall I give? Or no? What do you feel? So, any more questions are there apart from two? Another one only is there, na? Sister, how are the patients when people around us countries keep on hurting them? See, that one only I'm answering now, na? When I was in school, there is one Tamil movie was coming. One of those regional movies used to come on Sundays. One of those regional movies, my parents, both of them, they're Telugu speaking, but my mother studied in that medical school in Madras. My father also studied in Vellore. So both of them can speak fluent Tamil. So the Tamil movie started. I don't know, subtitles were there or not. I don't know. I'm not that good in reading. I don't know what it is. I don't know what movie it is, how it is, but I know the story and it has an impact on me. What I'll tell you. One man who's a gunda, he'll be watching one rich lady giving donations to everybody, and she's like a philanthropist, like, she wants to give donations and all. Her father was a zamindar. Father is no more, but she's carrying on the legacy of serving all the villages around, and she's like, excuse me, she's like a caretaker of all the villages around. So he thinks this lady is very rich and she's got a lot of money. So in front of her, he will behave like, he's a very pious man and he's very helpful man, and he's a very kind man. Like that, all these different actions he will show, and she will believe him, and she will take him under her wing. She's like quite an older lady. She'll take him under her wing, and then she will teach him everything, how to take care of all these different activities of her charity and everything. So he wins her trust, and then finally one day she's like getting old, she's getting to be 70s, and she says, now Babu, now you take care of everything because you are so capable and everything. So if I'm not there, you are the one who will carry this torch. You will be the torch bearer. He'll say, madam, whatever you say. Then she will call the lawyer and she'll make the will that whatever the trust is there, it should be the main person who will execute it is Babu. She will do it, and he will come to know. Of course, he knows all internal affairs. He knows. So what he goes after that, in the night, he goes and says, madam, do you want to drink milk? She says, yes. Every day she drinks. So he puts poison in it and he gives. Because now the money is in his control now. No? So the minute she drinks, she collapses, she's hospitalized. And all people from all different villages, people like thousands and thousands come to the hospital because they have so much love and respect for her. So they come and ask him, because he's like a secretary to her. What happened? What happened? And he's like in a hottest temperature, temperament. He says, okay, like that. Already his behavior is changing. Then she wakes up, they clean the stomach and all, she's okay. And so the doctor comes and says, now she's come back to consciousness and she wants to meet you. She doesn't want to meet anybody. A lot of people are there crazy to meet her. But I said, no, I want to meet Babu only. So they call Babu. Babu knows that she knows, because the doctor has told you poisoned. You were poisoned, so we had to clean your stomach, and that is what happened to you. So she knows who gave the milk to her. No. So anyway, so he goes there and he knows my tamasha is over now. All is over. The thing is over now. She will say, you are this, you are that, whatever. So he'll stand like that and looking up here and there. That gunda behavior, no, it comes down to his face, and he's seeing like that. So then she says, she looks at him and she calls him, and she says, Babu, I have so much faith in you. She says in Tamil, I have so much faith in you that even now, if you give me a glass of milk, I will drink it. She'll say. He starts crying so much. What can I tell you? So much he starts crying. He goes away running. Somewhere he will go sit there and cry like buckets of tears. But the thing is, he feels it. When the realization comes, when you forgive, no, realization comes. That's the only method. If you say you are like this, they will say, yes, I'm like that only. I'll be like this only. My wish, they will say. But forgiveness is a tool. Sister, how to be more patient with when people around us are continuously keeping on hurting? Strength, we have to increase our strength. That is what it is. That it should not get into a system. Many people will be in the same situation but not affected at all. Not so much. They are like that one. They'll feel like that. You should come to that point where it is not a big deal. Self-respect is not there, then everything they say is hurting. Na? See, let us say your name is Harita. And somebody is calling you Harita. And you say, no, I'm not Harita. They say, no, you are Harita. I know you are Harita. Look, I'm Sarita. Do not even call me by that name. Say, no, you are Harita. Said, whatever you think, you think. Because I know who I am. I don't have to prove it to you. I am Sarita. How many times you must have heard that name Sarita in all your life? How many times they must have called you Jyotsna, so that it's so clear. Anything rhyming with Jyotsna, also you'll turn around and see somebody calling you. So if we practice our soul consciousness to that extent, who am I? What am I? What qualities? So what happens if people call you by any other name or any other thing, you will not respond. Somewhere we are also believing it, no, what they're saying, if you're giving the energy and time in thinking about it. Isn't it? So self-respect, we have to grow. What they have to do, why, how to change them is the second criteria in meditation. How I should become stronger. I have a lot of examples now. There is no time. We all have to go and have dinner also. Ah, I also have to go have dinner. Okay. Hmm. So meet you tomorrow. Tomorrow is a very important class. So what we will do, we'll have question answer in between like this. It's very good. I had a good time. You're all asking me questions like this. Very good. Huh? So you ask you some questions. Tomorrow class is very practical class. You can ask questions tomorrow. Lot of questions. Okay. So meet you tomorrow then. They will have 2 minutes silence and then we'll go. Okay.